All right, good morning. We'll call the Vigo County Capital Improvement Board meeting to order. It's October 22nd at 9 a.m. Brady is filling in for the auditor today, so Brady, can you call the roll, please?
All right, Brian Kostra. Tony Brewer. Emily Crapo. John Markle. Karen Dyer. And Chris Watson.
Here.
Thank you.
Mayor sent us an email last night saying that he was at a conference, so he won't be here today, so he is absent. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda that anybody's aware of? Eddie, anything? CIB? Okay. Move on. Brady emails us the minutes. It's 4.1 on our agenda. We'll need a motion to approve those if there's no questions or comments. Motion's been made by Karen, second by John. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes carried. Easy peasy. You're up.
Good morning. Right, we are reporting on the month of September. We had 9 events in September, which accounted for 14 total event days. Attendance for the month was 932. Gross revenue was $78,000. September events, there's a second page has a list of events, just a few to point out. The Air Force Gala was here for the second time. This is an every other year event. They had 380 people this year, which was their largest that they've held in the past. And then we had Avigan Turkeys, this is their second time being with us. Also, it was a 5-day conference. It's an international, they have a lot of international folks that are here with them. A lot of folks from South Africa and the UK. And so they had a lot of hotel room nights, 5 days of education, visiting the turkey plant here in Terre Haute through their time here. And then ISU Credit Union was here for 2 days also. On the operations maintenance side, we had Indiana Water came in and changed out one of our water meters in the mechanical room. Kone and Envelop IQ replaced the signal cables in the garage elevators. Last month I had mentioned we had some cameras that were down, and I think is just due to weather over the past few years, the cables had actually snapped in half in a few places, and so they have repaired those with different cables that will be, I guess, a little bit more weather friendly. We did have to go back to them after we're still getting all the billing for that. It came to much higher than what we anticipated. We were overbilled, so we went back to both of those. We get state co-op pricing for Kone, so they went back and revised our pricing, and then had to go back to Envelop also and revise our pricing as well. But we will be looking at finding another camera service. Envelop did all of the install for the camera system in the building, and they also host our camera equipment, but it's not under contract anymore. So I think we're going to go and look for some other service operators just to relook at pricing, because the pricing has kind of really gone up through Envelop when they've had to come out and fix things. We went through biannual hood inspection through Corson. Benches and concrete structures on the west side of the parking garage were scrubbed and cleaned. And then since B&B is no longer servicing equipment, Pepsi's been servicing and changing filters on coffee, tea, and ice machines. So we've found other companies locally that can come in and start servicing things that B&B was servicing in the past, or Radia. And then went through monthly fire extinguisher, AED, and elevator inspections, which we do the first of the month. On the sales and marketing side, sales contracted 10 events last month, totaling $85,000 in business. They're currently working 47 proposals that they have out for this year and future years, totaling more than $500,000 in business and almost 1,900 hotel rooms. And we've got 11 contracts that are out that are more than $200,000 in revenue and little more than 300 hotel room nights. I'll skip over all the sales and marketing initiatives. Just kind of goes through, some of the things that we're involved with, and then the advertising, promotions, analytics. So we'll skip back to the statistics page. So looking at 2025 definite business, we still have 31 contracts from now through the end of the year that are to complete. Gross revenue is close to 400,000, and then we've got 2 contracts that are still out waiting to get back, and then 6 proposals that we're still working on closing. Well, typically, you know, as we get closer to December, we still have some holiday business that will book last minute, so we'll still pick up some more contracts. And then you can see 2026, how we've kind of shifted gears to 2026 more. We've got 15 definite contracts out that are definite, 9 firms, which means we've sent contracts waiting on them to come back, and then 34 proposals. And then a little bit for 2027. So total funnel from current time forward is 1.3 million. That's in the funnel, and then over almost 4,000 hotel rooms. Looking at the next page is statistics. I changed this from the monthly statistic, and I just did it from year to date because I felt like the monthly just really it's not as impactful. So I wanted you to see where we are year to date, so you can kind of see where conventions, special events, meetings, banquets are, you know, in terms of number of events, attendance by event type, and the gross revenue by event type. So once we get to the end of the year, you'll see how this finishes, and then we'll start over at the beginning of next year. Going to the next page, statistics, gross revenue by event type. We include this every month, so you can kind of go through and compare these to last month's. But if you go one more page over, I did include a couple other graphs that show hotel rooms consumed by event type. And I will start including page numbers on this, I apologize. But you'll see I've got 2 long graphs. One's hotel rooms consumed by event type, and the other is revenue by event type. So if you look at conventions on here, you can see, and then what I did was I took January through October and then looked at what do we think we'll have for the rest of the year. So if you look at conventions, you'll see we had hotel rooms, what's anticipated for the year is 1,400 hotel room nights, and then meetings bring about 1,800 hotel room nights. And then you can see the revenue by event type as well. Banquets brings a lot of revenue because food and beverage is always a driver for revenue. Same with the meetings category. We have a lot of food and beverage that goes with meetings, so you can see how we rank when it comes to the event types and the spend for those event types. Going to economic impact. The first section just shows kind of the economic impact based on the month. Looking at day attendees, about 747 day attendees. What I do is I take our attendance and I back out the hotel rooms because I'm trying to kind of segment those out as to who's only here for day events and then who's here spending the night. So this is the multiplier that we've come up with. And then you can look and see what our pace is for 2025 and then our impact since opening. And then Karen, once you guys have your system ready to start putting numbers in, we can go in and kind of figure out where do we want these numbers to sit. And then looking at Larry Bird Museum, to date attendance is a little over 15,000. Any questions?
I've got a question. 2 questions. The gross revenue by month year over year, and really the hotel rooms consumed by month. September of 25 compared to September of 24, it looks like it's drastically lower. Was there an event in 24 that was kind of an outlier, or it looks like we're trending the wrong way?
I can go back and look and see what events we had during those months. Not every event is going to line up. So a lot of times we might have an association that brings a lot of room nights for 1 month, 1 year, and then they're not back. They're not going to be back for another few years. And so we're going to have months where we've got really high months from the convention center side where we have a lot of hotel rooms, but it's not going to match up the exact, same time the next year because that group might not be back. And we might have other business in other months that might be higher.
No, I understand. On that hotel rooms by month, when I look at 2024, the total for the year is 3,300 hotel rooms. And in 25 through September, we're at 1,700. It looks like almost half
Mm-hmm.
minus the remaining 3 months.
A lot of room night business depends on. There's a lot of variables when it comes to like convention business. We have to be able to accommodate food and beverage, space capacity in the convention center, trade show components, hotel room nights, and that. And so we do get a lot of business that we might lose because there's not enough hotel rooms. We might not have enough space for it. The rates might be too high for the group, and we just don't end up getting the business. So that could be what part of that is too.
Right, but how do you square that with the fact that last year you had 3,354 hotel rooms? I mean, so obviously you were able to accommodate it last year. So I don't know that reasoning necessarily holds true for this year.
A lot of it comes down to those different factors. If we've usually we have most of the space available. A lot of times the hotels might not have space available too.
How often do you run into that?
It's actually quite often. And Erica and I have talked a lot about some of the lost business that we've had with working with clients a little more on concessions for some of the associations that might need comp rooms, hotel room rates. They run at a high occupancy. So a lot of times we might have, like I can give you examples during like a lot of our football teams that we try to carry a lot of hotel room nights. But they might fall during times where they have alumni in the hotel too, where we might not be able to get those rooms, or they might have a 2-night minimum where a football team only needs 1 night and they're not going to pay for 2 nights. So those are pieces of business that we will lose because we can't put them anywhere else. They need to be connected to the convention center. So there's a lot of different variables.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I can't say it's all just hotel. Like we do get a lot of business that we bid on that it doesn't fit. You know, the convention center is kind of small, and if we can't get overflow space somewhere that is a reasonable distance for a client, it kind of takes us off the short list.
Any other questions? Tennille, you kind of want to talk about the last event that you made me and the mayor aware of?
Yeah, we just recently had Indiana Primary Healthcare Association. They had about 350 people that were here for their event. A little over 200 were attendees, and then they had about 100 and something vendors that were there. They did tabletops throughout the entire facility. And normally this is a group that when a meeting planner looks at our building, the way that they had laid it out, they were very open to thinking outside the box. Normally most groups would have turned us down for this, for hosting it with us. They utilized half of our ballroom with 350 seats in rounds so they could eat their meals and do their general session in the same space. It was fairly tight. And then they also used all the other breakout space, but our breakout space in the ballrooms, which is our largest rooms, they set part of those, we basically cut them in half, put some pipe and drape, and had classroom set on one side of the pipe and drape, and the other side they had vendors. Wasn't the greatest solution because you got to keep the vendors quiet while they're having their sessions, because you've got folks on the other side of a drape line that's really not helping to muffle any of the noise in that. But they utilized our facility for 4 days, like in this capacity, where they had folks moving all over the place, going from breakout to breakout, visiting with their vendors. We had all of our pre-function space. I think they had, I think we ended up with like 37, 42 vendors, something like that. We actually had to tell the client we can't do any more vendor tables because we're at max capacity due to fire code. Otherwise, we're blocking doors. We don't have enough aisle space when it comes to egress if there's an emergency. They were very willing to work with us and very open to working a floor plan like that. And I can send that floor plan and some pictures. Chris posted, some of that also. But when we have a group that is willing to think outside the box and do something a little bit different, it's very helpful for us. They had a lot of hotel room nights. It was a great piece of business revenue-wise. They ate downtown. They had nights out. They were out going to the bars in the evening. It was just a truly really good piece of business, but it's getting other groups to be able to come up, be open to that concept of having something a little bit different with their conference. It wasn't an ideal solution for them, but it worked. And the client was happy, the guests were happy. Overall, it was a very successful conference.
Cool. Anything else? All right, thank you, Sam.
Yep.
All right, Kyle, your turn from Baker Tilly.
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Kyle Carlson with Baker Tilly. Thanks as always for having me today virtually. Let's talk a little bit about the cash flow that was circulated yesterday. I will summarize the food and beverage revenues with an update, give a cash balance update, and then talk about any material changes we made to the cash flow month to month. Starting on the revenue side, the October food and beverage distribution was $286,000 compared to $301,000 in October of 2024. So that is a little bit lower year to year, but there is still 4% growth through the first 10 months of distributions in 2025 compared to 2024. The cash balance at the end of September is just over $5 million, which is good to see. This balance will be dropping with the upcoming bond payment and other expenditure items on the cash flow, so it's important to kind of look forward a few months to kind of really see where you are, but it is good to see that balance. And then some changes that we made that I want to summarize, and I also tried to summarize it in an email that I sent all of you guys yesterday, but we are looking at an estimated over $300,000 less in the red for operating account transfers to Oakview Group in 2025 than we had estimated at the beginning of the year, or we had estimated with Oakview Group giving us assumptions. So that was good to see. So with that, we have adjusted calendar year 2027 and 2028 transfers to Oakview Group, operating transfers down a bit, as you can see on page 4, if you compare last year's cash flow to this one. And this has allowed us to still remain conservative, but trend a little bit more realistic with lowering those transfers. We have adjusted calendar year 2026 transfers down using information provided by Oakview Group over the last 30 days as well. So I think that's really just helping, your cash balance going forward each year with being a little bit less conservative and more realistic. That's really the updates I have. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Any questions for Kyle? I will say the Butte County Council did pass and adopt the budget for the Butte County Capital Improvement Board. There were no questions about that. And maybe when we get to new business, I would still like to talk about a couple things with the Wabash Valley Career.
I do have a question. Kyle, this is Brian. On the cash flow, you're showing October at 286,864, but we're still in October. How does?
Yeah, so you get the
missing?
distributions at the beginning of the month.
For month
and so,
prior?
Wait, go ahead.
You show it at the beginning of October for the month prior?
Yeah, you get it from 2 months prior. So what you receive or what the CIB received in the beginning of October is really for activity in August, food and beverage activity in August. So it's kind of 2 months in arrears or over a month in arrears. That's just the beginning of October is when you get the collection. And since we put this together in the middle of October before the meeting, we have the October collection. So we go ahead and insert it into the cash flow.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, Kyle.
No problem.
Eddie, any updates on legal matters? Okay. John, update on the Larry Bird Museum graphics?
Yes. You see,
You gotta turn your microphone on, John. Just so people in the tube can hear.
yes, we received a sample of the product that we're looking at to replace a couple of graphics, particularly the jump graphic, big tall one. It's actually a plastic that's been matted onto that thing. But we still don't have a cost. We've got a cost of what this would cost to replace the two graphics. But we don't have a cost of what it would take. The people who make this don't have an installer. So our representative, Mark Madursky, got again with those the manufacturer, and she has suggested a company, I believe it was out of Cleveland, that will come over and look at what the cost would be to take it down and then put up that. So it's still going to be probably first of the year, a little bit longer next year before we see. And the public coming through there, they really don't know that there's an issue with things because the bubbles have receded back away. We'll see what happens. The heat's back on, but it isn't a 911 type thing. We have to get in there right away.
On the sample, it says there's a 10-year warranty. Are there any, what rules do we need to follow up front to make sure we have
Talk to our attorney.
We'll make sure. Now, the funny thing about warranties is they have to honor the warranty. Sorry, that's a jab at our current issue.
Anything else, Mr. Marvel?
No, sir.
Okay. I had the opportunity to have breakfast last Saturday at Lady Bird, and there were 7 people in there, all with Larry Bird jerseys on, that were going to the Larry Bird Museum from Carmel. So I thought that was really cool. They chose to eat at Lady Bird, and they went to the museum, and they chose to have lunch at the terminal. So it's great to see. I mean, that museum is a draw, even if it's from people within the state. It's important for us to know that. So.
I will add that it's our number one most requested experience is the Hoops Heritage Tour.
Great. Cool. All right. Anything else on the Larry Bird Museum in general? Okay. Eddie, would you like to introduce Ellie and Andy?
Thank you. You have packets. Good morning. My name's Ellie Templeton. I'm glad to be here today and have a chance to introduce myself to those of you I don't know. I'm the new executive director at Art Spaces Outdoor Sculpture Collection here in Terre Haute. I've been on about 3 months when Allie Midgley moved on, relocated out of Terre Haute. So thanks for having me. Thanks, Eddie, for arranging for us to be here. In front of you, you'll see we wanted to share, this morning I have Andy Thies, who's a board member with us, with Art Spaces as well, here with me. And I wanted to provide an update on the Turn to the River project. Specifically, the area that we are planning to break ground on in 2026. This is called the Gathering Room, and it is the space that's located to the north of City Hall. Everybody know where we're talking about? If you go to about page, I think it's 2 or 3 in your packet, there's a little kind of better map that shows kind of bird's eye view of where we're talking about here. So the north side of City Hall. We've engaged Taylor Seifker Williams to give us some updated plans on this space, which is what you're looking at on the front cover. And this space is, as the name implies, designed to be an area where people can come together, whether it's for a food truck Friday, a small farmer's market, a small festival, anything like that, as we continue to develop our city-county campus. So the funding for this is made possible through funds allocated by the CIB, I believe in 2023 as part of the Ready One match. So that is a good portion of the budget for this project, and then we also have some funding through the Oakley Foundation. What you're looking at is in the $800,000 to around $900,000 range, which aligns well with our budget. Our goals for the space are to provide a space that has adequate seating, hardscape, and shading as well. So it's all centered around the central promenade that you see running along the middle of the space, with future plans to have that portion be connected to other pedestrian walkways that do indeed move out toward the river and toward a riverfront development. But yeah, within the gathering space, you're looking at, there would be seating, there would be elevated shade structures on that south side there that do provide shade, which we knew was important for making sure that people actually do spend time out there. And then quite a bit of landscaping, and we've incorporated lighting, obviously some different types of pavers to give it some dimension, and spaces for art as well. So the number 6 there on the legend is 2 spaces that have been denoted where we could install future sculpture pieces that Art Spaces would commission. What else, Andy? What else can I share here? I think I've covered some of the basics. I have shared this plan with the mayor and also with the city engineer team, and they are excited about it. They've been happy with the plan, giving me some feedback on things to consider as we move further into the design phase. But I just wanted to introduce myself, present this to you. We welcome your input, your questions. Our goal is to begin the bidding process, which I believe will go through the city as early as possible in 2026, and to break ground shortly after that. Anything else?
Yeah, I was going to add just a couple of items.
Sure, please.
Andy Thies, kind of a longtime board member of Wabash Valley Art Spaces. Whenever I hear Ellie's only been there 3 months, she hasn't hit the ground running. She's hit the ground sprinting. It is unbelievable to me. It's only been 3 months. She's doing a fantastic job. I did want to just put out kind of a blanket part of Art Space's mission, and in the first phrase of our mission statement is economic growth for the region, and we believe this is a piece of the puzzle for Vigo County and Terre Haute's economic growth as part of our Turn to the River project. Several years of public input to develop this plan. We started with kind of our hopes and dreams, and then we molded it down to fit our budget. So you may have seen graphics of something that was slightly different, but this is what has been value engineered to fit our budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
This is Karen Dyer. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
One, so we do have enough money to do all the project as it stands?
Correct. As you're looking at on this page, this aligns with the money that we currently have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
2, you have some plans in the works for those 2 art nodes?
Not yet, but if you have any input, there has been, I guess some very high-level discussion on potential groups that we could honor. There was a suggestion made about Native American groups that were associated with the riverfront, and that was their native land. A few other, very high-level comments made. So if the board would have any input on what kind of art you'd like to see there.
My third question is,
Yeah.
is this the completion of the Turn to the River project, or is there more?
So this would be the completion of phase 2 of the Turn to the River project, correct? Yes. In the grand plan that was originally developed, there is a phase 3 that carries the promenade east. It would be toward Wabash Avenue, so sitting north of the courthouse in this case, and creating a better pedestrian access point from Wabash across 41 and then entering on, and eventually continuing on to the riverfront, where I believe it was an overlook.
That's the concept.
The concept, the high-level concept was an overlook, is an overlook, I should say, that would extend west all the way to the river.
I guess I have a fourth question.
Please.
So is that your priority versus new art installations in this project?
No, I would say they sit somewhat equal depending on where where I take direction from my board, and also where we see good funding opportunities. So we very much would love to see this project continue and develop, potentially with additional partners to make that happen, and to see the entire Turn to the River riverfront development happen. But we still very much align with our mission to bring other pieces of public art to the community. Yeah. Go ahead.
Just to add to that point, that final piece where we reach the river, we see that as a pretty heavy lift to get there, but we also see that as the highest impact, because the ultimate goal, you're bringing people to the river where they can experience it. That location there is a great spot to see the river and the Wabash River bridges. Wonderful opportunity for Terre Haute and Vigo County there, but it's going to be a difficult project monetarily.
Is this design final?
No, it is not.
Okay. All right.
Still concept.
Just a concept? Okay.
Yes.
So with this awning, and it's
Yes.
going long ways, east and west, right?
Mhm.
I wonder,
Yes.
is there a way to create that? These shadows don't look quite right to me, like with a morning sun, evening shade type of option.
Mhm.
I don't feel like you'd be getting your maximum out of that awning by directing it in your east-west versus a north-south setting, but I don't know.
Okay. No, I think that's something we could share with Taylor Siefer Williams and see. I don't know that they could fully adjust it to be north-south, since you kind of see the arc and the design of the plan from east to west, but potentially shifting those around. Or there was some discussion, if we end up with any extra wiggle room in our budget, to add to the shade portion to try to maximize that as much as possible, so that people do spend time out there. Yeah.
Brian? Mr. Brewer? Anybody? Anything?
Wouldn't you like a morning sun and an evening shade? You're gonna be using it a lot in the summertime, by lunchtime. Correct. But you're only gonna have half of it as it comes over, and then half of it in the evening.
Okay, quickly. Oh, never mind. Brian can go.
Financially, first of all, we've got $450,000 pledge that's factored into our cash flow.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, right now we have it placed in December kind of as a placeholder, but we can move it to where when it's going to actually be expended.
All right, switching hats real quick from CIB to County Commissioner.
Sure.
Andy, we appreciate you being a part of our conversations that we had when we built the new kind of roundabout right there. That's substantially complete. There are electric resources out there for you guys in the instance that you want to install some type of art or something, either in that median or on the sidewalk area. Of course, we can add additional concrete on those areas in the future as well. Last week, we trenched in irrigation. That was substantially complete. We had to do some stuff to that. We have sod coming in the next couple weeks to complete that project. We decided not to grass seed and straw, to actually install sod. That way it would be green and fresh this year, and we can irrigate it throughout until it gets freezing all the time. We're expecting that to be complete in about 14 days.
Great.
So if we have a ribbon cutting, which I assume we will have, we would hope that you guys would be a part of that.
Sure.
We want to be a partner
Yeah.
in getting this part complete, and then hopefully get you guys on board to do something in that area. One thing that I was made aware of yesterday, which is unbelievable, 2 people have now driven from Wabash across 3rd over the curb and onto the dirt and then onto the, so we'll have to come up with, we don't know if we really want to put bollards there because that doesn't look the best, but some type of something, whether it be bushes or whatever, but to make sure people know that they can't continue across 41 onto the front. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, big planters or something.
Wow, thank
So-
you. Yeah. Well, thank you, Commissioner. We would very much like to be involved in a ribbon cutting, so let me know.
Yeah.
And
Lastly, in the northeast corner, you'll notice that we poured concrete there. There will be a big, beautiful, I think it's around 6 foot tall, Vigo County monument put there
okay.
that has welcome to Vigo County and established our date of establishment and lights and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to look really nice, new flagpoles. So
Great. Could I,
Which corner is that?
the northeast corner.
Okay.
if I shoot you an email, can you send me what that's going to
Absolutely.
look like? Great.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else for Ellie or Andy? All right, thank you guys.
Great. Thank you.
All right, any other new business that anybody wants to talk about? Questions and comments from CIB. I will say, the mayor and I have both been talking to Kyle a little bit about still doing something for the rowing team on the Wabash River. I still don't know what we're going to do, but we're 3 months now saying we're going to do something, and they have matching funds from the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. I'm hoping that at some point next month we can have something that we're going to do, if not today. We know what their ask was. I don't necessarily think we have to give them all of their ask, but we can be a part of that to get them closer. But please, if you have any questions, reach out to them. Reach out to Kyle if it has anything to do with financing. But we definitely have the money to do it. And they've been trying to get this done for, 4 years now? So, yeah. Anything else?
People come in to, can you hear me now? People come in and, you know, they're renting a room for a day or 2 days, whatever it is, but they won't come back if your staff doesn't treat them well. And I noticed Bailey and Brady were mentioned in your presentation there this morning. I'd like to give those from the board here, kudos for doing their job, but doing it well.
Thank you. All of our staff is extremely passionate about what we do, and taking care of our clients is the #1 priority and the guests in our building, and it shows through our staff and our customer service. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else? Go ahead, Brian.
Did I see an update on the crows? Or no?
No, we wrote a check and paid for the laser today. I think Josh Alsop with the chamber is leading an effort to meet with all downtown businesses that are interested in that laser shining on their building.
Maybe that's what I saw.
And I believe there's some type of meeting today. I don't know if it includes all the businesses, but basically Josh is going to send out a mass email to downtown businesses and say, if you're interested in this laser being on your property, not physically, but shining and doing whatever the crow laser does, they would like to know so they can get it programmed. I think that's it right now.
Okay, so Josh, he's the crow guy?
Josh, Jonathan, and Kristen have
Okay.
kind of been a part of that conversation.
All right, second question, any update, or do you know where we're at with, excuse me, moisture management?
It's probably looking like they're not going to get started till warmer weather.
But they've got a contract
Yep.
and they're beginning their due diligence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And then weather and some other project that they've gotten done. And then an update on Indiana. I'm sure you all are probably aware somebody broke into it, 3 juveniles last week. I got a phone call immediately. Rob got a phone call immediately, but Rob is really the one who started all that. Although he's not an employee of the CIB, I would say he's one of the best volunteers in the world because he saw his cameras in that building and it popped off, and he was there, made a phone call to 911, and they found those kids within about an hour of them breaking in. In that weird gray area of what do you do to some juveniles that broke into the Indiana theater, and we're still having that conversation. But they are, of course, out and back home. But that building there are locking mechanisms, but there are 19, 20 locking mechanisms, and I'm not going to say what you can do to get in that building, but it's not very difficult to get in that building. So Rob has done everything he can to make sure it's. A couple doors were broken. A lock was broken. Nothing was stolen that we're aware of because they couldn't get out of there. But now we have ropes and everything else in the building, keeping stuff shut. So. Sure. Yeah. They sold, but they're still sitting there. So. You have to talk to the mayor. All right, anything else? All right, we'll meet on November 19th, 2025, back here, Finance Committee at 8:30. Thank you.